Let's make soap. Today I'm going to be making a basic and lovely soap with 3 ingredients. In my container here, I have 27 ounces of olive oil, and right now I am getting ready to weigh out 27 ounces of beef tallow. So we're going to be making a 64-ounce batch in my tall and skinny mold. So I'm going to weigh out my beef tallow. We need 27 ounces of that. See if we can get it exact. It's going to be a really nice soap. I've made this recipe once before, and I like the lather and the texture and the outcome of the soap with just 3 basic ingredients. So we're adding 27 ounces of beef tallow into our 27 ounces of olive oil. See where we are. Probably should have this weighed out and measured already, but just so you can see the process step by step of what goes into the product, and you will know exactly what you're getting. So we have a little more to go. Seems like a lot, but you're going to enjoy the benefits of this soap. You know, we're coming into, what is this holiday coming up? Valentine's Day. And so tonight I thought I would try to make a soap that's representing Valentine's Day. We will see how it goes. Okay, we're almost there. 27. The batch normally calls for 32 ounces, but I'm making a 64-ounce batch today because it's going into my tall and skinny mold, and we need enough product to fill the mold. This is going to be lovely. I have some that has cured already. Excuse me. The cure time for any cold processed soap would be 4 to 6 weeks. And I have some that's already cured, and I've been using it. And I just love the lather, the creaminess, and the texture that it applies to the skin. I think that you will love it. That is, if you decide to try it. And so, we're almost there with 27 ounces. Excuse me. My voice is a little tired today. The weather has been chilly and cool. And so, I'm a little raspy. But it's okay. I hope you can understand and hear what's being said here. 27 ounces. You're probably thinking, wow, that's a lot of product. And it really is. But it's okay. It's all good. Not going to do it. A little more to go. And we're right at 28, 27, 23. So I'm going to take a little off of the top because we want it to be 27, because that's what I measured out my lye solution for a 64-ounce batch. So let's put that one back. Beef tallow is very nice on the skin. All right, so we have 2705, just a little over. But I think that we will be okay. 98, 2702. We're good to go. All right. So we're going to add the beef tallow into the olive oil because we want to melt these down. We want to melt these down so they can be at a consistency of maybe like 110 or 101 Fahrenheit. Okay, so we have one more oil that's going into our beef tallow and olive oil. We're going to be adding 10 ounces of coconut oil. Can you see that? 10 ounces of coconut oil. So let me tear out my scale. Tearing out my scale here, and we're going to measure out 10 ounces of coconut oil, 76 degree, strictly for soap making, cold processing. So 10 ounces of this, and that will be our 3 ingredients for our basic and lovely soap. Alright, and then once again, we're going to add the coconut oil into our olive oil, our beef tallow, and we're going to put that on the stove and let that beef tallow melt down, and we can get it to a temperature of 110 degrees. That's while our the lye solution is cooling down. So let's get this melted down and then we'll come back. Okay, and while our oils and lye water solution are cooling down, I'm going to go ahead and get together the colors that I want to be in this soap. Here we have titanium dioxide, which is going to give the soap a white base. Here we have a pink rose mica, and then I'm going to add, for the third color, a ruby rose mica, and I hope that the pink and the red, you'll be able to tell the difference or the distinction between the two. So what I have in my container here is about a teaspoonful of oils. So I'm going to go ahead and add the ruby red mica powder to that. Give it a stir. See what it turns out to be. I'm liking it. It seems to be a quite the shade darker than our pink, and those are the colors that we're going to be using for our basic and lovely Valentine's Day soap. And if I need to add more of the mica into my containers here, I'll do so as I'm mixing. That's what I do. The fragrance that I'm going to be using today, I'm going to do a combination of 2. We're going to go with the Pink Rose Ultra, and I hope that you can see that. And then we're going to go with a Black Rose combination, since we're in the theme of Valentine's Day. So since I have 64 ounces of my liquids, I need to measure out 3 ounces of the fragrance oil. So that will be ready to go. Let's see here. Okay, I'm taking the oils off of the burner now because they have fully melted. So we're going to go ahead and measure out, here we go, 3 ounces of our fragrance oil. And that's going to be added to the complete batter. So we're going to start with 1.5 of the Black Rose. Going to go ahead and measure that. See that going in. 1.5 ounces of the Black Rose. And then we're going to do 1.5 of the Pink Rose. And that will give us our 3 ounces. And this should be a lovely fragrance for the occasion. Black Rose and Pink Rose, you can't go wrong with those. Okay, and while the oils are cooling down, I wanted to make us aware that anytime that we're dealing with lye, we must have on our protective gear. If you can see, I'm wearing long sleeves. I don't know if you can see that or not. Long sleeves. I have on my gloves. I had on my goggles. I mixed my lye outside so the fumes would not penetrate the house and, you know, around the cats and whomever else is in the house. So anytime you're working with lye, you want to make sure that you have on your protective gear to cover yourself. Now, here's another tip. When you're mixing lye into distilled water, this is distilled water, you want to make sure that you always pour your lye into your water solution. And the safest way to do that is to do it outside. And then you want to stir it until the water becomes clear. So we're still waiting on this to cool down some. Let's see here, it's at 128. Can you see that? And our oils are at 180. So we want them to both come to a temperature of about 100 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit when we're soaping at that high. I normally soap at 80 or 92, but this recipe calls for a higher soaping Fahrenheit. So we're going to let everything cool down to either 100 or 110 Fahrenheit. And while that's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and grab my mold, get that together, get my immersion blender together, so when they are cooled down, then we'll be mixing the lye into our oils and bringing those to emulsification. So we'll be right back. Okay, this is my lye water solution here. And what I'm going to add to the lye water solution is sodium lactate. And what the sodium lactate is going to do is to help the soap unmold easier. I'm going to be adding 2 teaspoons of sodium lactate to the lye water. Give that a quick stir around. I hope you can see this. Give it a quick stir around. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my lye water into the oils. I'm sorry, but let me just get a little better view on that. The lye water to the oils. I'm going to grab my goggles here. I transferred my container so you can see the mixing going on. I transferred the oil into a different container. All right, so we have our oils. We have our sodium lactate. And I did put my goggles on because we're going to be blending. Check the temperature on this again. Soaping a little higher than I want to, but we're going to go ahead with the process and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, let's grab our immersion blender here. I'm going to put it in, and what we want to do is to pour the lye water solution down the shaft of our immersion blender, and that way we can try to avoid some of the bubbles that may happen during the process. So we're combining everything here, and this is where the soap comes together. The lye water and the oils. They're going to combine and they're going to emulsify our soap base. I don't want to stir this too much. I don't want to blend it too much because I want, excuse me, my liquids to be a little bit fluid. But I need to stir it enough in order for the oil and water to mix together. So I'm giving it a little tap. I'm going to give it a little stir. And we're going to try to bring it together here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. It may be a little noisy, but here it goes. And we're going to stir a little bit. Stir it around to make sure that everything combines the way that we want it to. I'm going to give it another quick blend. Another stir to bring the oils and the water together, because we don't want it to separate. We don't want the oil to separate from the water, because we know that oil and water doesn't mix, but this is where the lye comes in. All soap, whether you buy it from the store or whether you're making it cold processed, it requires lye and distilled water. I'm going to give it one more. And I'm going to leave it at this because I'm going to have to do more stirring when I add my colors, and then we can make sure that it comes together there. I wanted to be able to pour into the mold and set up. Let's see. We want to try to bring it to a light trace, and what a trace is what you blend. You will hit a light trace. It's when you will be able to see maybe like your name or some initials on top of the oil. I'm going to do it one more time, and this is where I sometimes second guess myself here, because we do want it thin enough. We want a light trace, but we don't want it too thick, because if we have it too thick, sometimes it'll start to seize up on us, and that means that you won't be able to get the swirls that I'm trying to create in this batch of soap. So what do you say, Ernestine? Do you leave it as it is, or do you give it? All right. We have brought it together. Can I get a trace out of that? No. Let's see, it's taking longer to trace. Okay. I'm going to leave it as so. A little thin. Sometimes you can get a false trace where you think that everything has combined together, and you get a false trace. So let's see. I'm gonna let it rest for a second or two, and then I'll come back with another pulse, and then we're going to split this off into our containers here, our colors. Excuse me, and our titanium dioxide to get that white base that we're looking for. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to give it another little stir. I'm going to add some of the fragrance oil into our base. Give it a stir. Make sure it's blended in. All right, I'm gonna move that to the side there. I'm gonna do a little stir here. And I'm gonna go ahead and start to separate some of this into my colors. Do that. That's a ruby red. Excuse me. And this is a rose gold mica pink. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a little of the complete base. I'm going to pour some of it into the titanium dioxide. That way we don't have to do too much mixing. And what I'm hoping for is that this will give it a white base. Stir that in. Excuse me. And stir it in. A spoon here. Mix it together. You can see the difference with the titanium dioxide. This is almost kind of white, if you can see that. And this is almost like a yellow mustard color. So now that I mix that in, what I'm going to do is pour it back into a base. And so that way the base of the soap should be white and not a mustard yellow or gold color. And so we've done that. So I'm going to take my immersion blender once again, give it a stir. Nice good stir here, and then I'm going to okay. What I did is I added a little more fragrance oil to the batter here, to the base. Almost like a cake batter. Added that to the base. That black rose and pink rose smells very good together. Almost smells like a cherry. So this is Valentine's Day. That's okay. now I'm going to transfer this over into my, actually doesn't want to come to the trays. Okay, so I'm going to bring my mold over. This is my tall and skinny mold. And I'm going to transfer the batter, some of it over into smaller containers so we can pour. What's left, we put it into another individual mold. Okay, let's see what you look like here. Yeah. Okay. Let me get it in the mold and work quickly. It's like it's trying to seize up on me. Get a little thick. All right, so here goes the pour. Pour it into the mold. We're going to bring the rest of it over. Get it into our mold here. And what we're going to do now is go ahead and blend in our colors. I think what I want to do is add a little more of the ruby red into this batter. Hit it with a little fragrance oil. We're going to do the same with the mica pink. Get it all stirred in there together. Hit it with a little fragrance oil. Where did I put my ruby red? Oh, here we go here. Looking for this. I'll give it a little bit more to bring that definition out so it could be distinctive from the pink. Stir it in here really, really good. Try to get all the clumps out of it and try to get it into the mold before it starts to get a little hard on us. And what I'm going to be doing is a drop pour into the mold, and I want it to sink in to the batter that's already into our mold. Stir it up. The fragrance oil mixed in there. And here we go. I'm going to start with a high pour. Top to bottom, left to right. I'm going to stop it there. We're going to come in with the mica pink, and we're going to do the same thing, coming in with the mica pink. A drop pour. We're going to start high. You can see it going down. clean this up a little bit. I got a little spillage on the side. And we're going to come back in once again with the ruby red. Hit it with the blender. I think I'm liking this. I'm liking what I'm seeing because our colors are being distinctive. We will see on the cut what the outcome would be. They're not just sinking to the bottom, they're staying on top. I'm going to give it one more hit. With the mica pink. And there you have it. I'm going to let this sit for a little bit so I can let it thicken up, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to try to give the top a little definition, or maybe I should just leave well enough alone and let it stay as it is, and we'll see how these swirls come out tomorrow. I think it's cute. I don't know what you think, but we'll see. We're going to let this sit here for a minute and let it thicken up. And if I wanted to decorate the top, what I mean by that is I would take my spoon and I would give it, but right now it's a little too thin. So we're going to let it sit in the mold for maybe about 2 or 3 minutes. And then I'll come back and try to give the top some definition. Okay, so we're back. And it looks like I can get some definition going on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the back of a spoon, just a regular spoon, and I'm going to go from the sides, give it up, give it a little height, give it a little depth, bring it up a little bit on each side, or whatever we can get out of this. It's kind of cute though. Sometimes they say you want to go with the overage. So we're going to do it one more time. Bring it up, 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 bring it up. What do you think? I think that I am going to leave well enough alone. Yeah, we're going to leave well enough alone. All right. We have some definition. Let's see if I could turn it, and then you can see the definition that I'm speaking of. You can see it from that angle. The definition that has been added to that. So what I'm going to do now looks pretty good, but we won't know until we get that final cut, and that would be 24 hours from now. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to spritz it with a little rubbing alcohol on the top. Leave it alone. Okay. Let me find my rubbing alcohol and I'll be right back. Here we go. Just some 91% rubbing alcohol. I'm going to spritz the top of it. And the purpose of this is to try and cut down some of the soda ash that may form on the top while the soap is going through its gel phase. Hopefully this will give it a nice little sheen. Oh, And there you have it. A basic and lovely 3 ingredients cold processed soap, which consists of olive oil, beef tallow, and coconut oil with some colors. And here you have your Valentine's Day soap, and the scent and the fragrance on that. I don't know what we're going to call it, but we'll call it a black rose petal. What do you think? All right, so tune in tomorrow. We'll do the unmolding of this and the cut. All right, have a blessed night.